Little Missy. It was very relaxing getting away from the house for a change. Judy and I had decided to spend 5 days with our grandchildren at a local campground about 15 miles from our home here in Brunswick, Georgia. The second day we were there, I ran a large steel spike through my right hand, which took about 12 stitches. But worse than that was the 6 hours of waiting in the emergency room lobby to be treated. After getting sewn up and returning to the campsite, I found that I was really unable to do very much of anything with the kids. Most of the next 5 days I just sat by myself and watched everyone as they fished and played volleyball and cards. I guess that's the time the grandpas just sort of become useless when they can't do anything. On Thanksgiving Day, we deep-fried 2 large turkeys, and that was the first time in my life that I'd ever eaten Thanksgiving dinner outside. Except for when I'd run away from the orphanage, didn't have anything to eat, and ate with the hobos out on the railroad tracks or something years ago. And I must say that it was very enjoyable. At about dusk, we started a large fire, and everyone grabbed a lawn chair and sat around for hours talking and roasting marshmallows. About 12 o'clock, we decided to hit the sack. Early the next morning, we were up breaking down the campsite, and I stood to the side trying to stay out of the way. My hand was still very sore, and there was very little that I could do which would be helpful. As I stood there, I noticed a black pickup truck driving very slowly over by the bathroom. I watched as the passenger threw a brown paper bag at the can, missing it. When they drove away, I walked over to pick up the bag and throw it in the can. When I picked it up, it was rather heavy. I opened the bag, and I saw a small kitten inside. "Well, hello there, little Missy," I said as I took the small female kitten and lifted her out of the bag. I looked down the road to see if I could get the license tag number of the truck, but it had already left the camping site. The kitten did not look well at all. It was dirty, and it looked like it had not eaten for quite some time. After we returned home, I tried to telephone all 3 vets located in our town, but being Thanksgiving, none were available until Monday. I took the small kitten into the kitchen, and I tried to wash it off with a clean wash rag. Then I tried to feed it something, but it was just too weak to eat. So I just kept it on my lap all evening while I watched television. About 10 o'clock, I decided to go to bed, and I laid the small kitten down beside my pillow, turned out the light, and I climbed into bed. She pulled herself up next to my face as tightly as she could. All the while, she was curling herself tighter and tighter and tighter into a small fur ball. Then she settled down and bundled up next to my ear. I didn't move a muscle as she tried to clean herself once in a while. I could hear her faint meow. After she was done, I carefully reached over and I ran my fingers across her little head, causing her inner motor to make a purring sound. Over the next 5 minutes, her motor became less and less and less frequent. "I love you, little Missy," I whispered, as I carefully moved my finger back and forth across her ear. At that very moment, her purring stopped completely, and her tiny head fell limp into my hand. I picked her up gently, and I carried her into my office, where I laid her down on a shoebox on top of the computer desk. When I turned around, I saw Judy standing in the doorway. "Is she okay?" she asked. I stuck out my hand, motioning for her to please go away, that I could not speak to anyone right then. I sat in my office for more than 2 hours, wondering how people could be so cruel to such an innocent little creature. I left little Missy on my desk until the next morning. Then I went out to the flower bed where our other 2 cats are buried, and I prepared a special place for her. I'm not sure what the feeling is that comes over me when something is unloved or discarded like that. Maybe it's all those years of me being raised as an orphan in an orphanage. Maybe it's all the things that I had to suffer as a young boy at the hands of grown-up adult people, like the matrons. Maybe it's all the years of going hungry, being kicked, hit, and thrown away, unwanted and unloved by anybody. I really don't know. Maybe I'll never know. But I do know this for sure. Every living thing on this earth should be cared for. No human being or animal should ever leave the face of this earth without having been given the chance to serve its useful purpose. I hope that when little Missy left this earth last Friday night, the last thing she remembered was the love shown her by something known as a human being.